So I wanted to talk a little bit about the trinity of consciousness. And I don't even know if I'm able to, since this morning was not the greatest. I tried to develop something on my compute stuff, but I failed it and I broke something. And I think a lot of pieces broke down in my life, which I had thought will be okay. So this trinity is begins by our consciousness, which is the direct environment. We're like, this is the most nearest, environment that we are living in is our consciousness. So this is our immediate and direct environment. And the second one is like the material world, like for the outer world, right? But for the most cases, this outer world is our home, right? So the most of the time we are spending our life in is our home, or let's say in a more broader perspective, it would be our city or our village we're living in. And in a more broader view, it would be our country. But let's be honest, we do not travel throughout our country a lot. So we were born in our country, but we do not like enlighten all of the spaces that, like, we know almost nothing about the country we are living in, which means that actually the actual physical space we're spending most of our time in is actually only our home. Like there are exceptions. There are exceptions, like for example when we're traveling, but these are only exceptions. These aren't the biggest scale of where we are, like, in the physical world really live in, which means that the second consciousness we are building and we are like also contributing to, if we, I don't know, if we work in another place, we are also adding something to this place or removing something from this place. This means our home or our city or our village is the second layer, is the next layer of consciousness, which we know where to go, we know the streets, we know the places, we know what they are and what they ain't. This is the second one. And the third one is our consciousness at the biggest scale. So, like, you don't need to just copy this kind of system, but this is how I see it, and this is like more simplifying things. There are also something left out. So I think the third environment we are living in is the third consciousness, the third consciousness, the third layer of consciousness would be the universe. So the universe is the consciousness at its large scale, and the universe is also encompassing. I think the universe is really a special kind of consciousness, which means that it also the home is a really special kind of consciousness. Also, our own consciousness is a really special kind of consciousness, which I think we did not really throughout can perceive and can recognize and can understand until now. And there still are things which need to be discovered. But I think that the universe is a really a different kind of consciousness, where the universe, the third layer of consciousness, I think, seems to be an interceptual, is an is is a is a collective consciousness, um, which means that we are part. Our consciousness is part of this bigger consciousness, and this bigger consciousness makes itself thus throughout all of the things which are within it. It builds a whole. It builds the whole picture, and which means that every singularity becomes one. And I think the universe in itself is a unity. And in our home, we see this in a in a minimalistic style. I think I would say uh, our home and our city or our village seems to or claims to be um, in itself its own kind of universe, where it has its own kind of rules which were developed throughout history, and therefore I think it's just a mirror of the bigger picture, of the third layer of consciousness. And now this is everything is really you could be really skeptical about it, and this doesn't, and I do not claim to tell the truth here, or to build another religion or something like that. This was also only helping me by dividing different kinds of things to improve. So I came to the conclusion, or I came to this kind of system throughout self-improvement. So self-improvement is just a term for overcome for like I would say, I would rather say like pushing through pain, or overcoming yourself, or overcoming things which you think aren't benefiting your life, and like pulling off layers of purpose, and trying to find, or trying to build, and trying to shape this kind of purpose, and establish way more consciousness to your life. Establish way more consciousness to your life. Like this is the really the sense of it. This is really the essence of it. Um, and I thought about like, isn't this kind of selfish, where I only think about my own goals, where I only think about like myself? This world is in a kind of reciprocity, where one is influencing another person. Like one person is influencing another one, and we all live interconnected with each other. So I do not want to limit myself just on the first layer of consciousness. So I thought about what else do I try to improve, and so I came to the conclusion, right? It's my home, right? It's like this environment I'm currently in, and this is what I want, and this is what I also want to improve. For example, like the direct environment, or the second layer of consciousness, is also heavily infecting ourselves, or our first layer of consciousness. Like, for example, I do not live here permanently. This is just a temporary space, but I hate um, all of this disorder which is here in this space. Or I hate that, for example, there's a street right next to the basement, which also heavily which also heavily produces a lot of noise. And there's a lot of traffic here because of, like, there's noise because of the traffic, right? So this is what I also trying to improve, and we must be conscious. So I thought about where is the, how is the space built up, how is this basement built up to live a life to the fullest, or to live my life um, aligning to my purpose. Like what should this basement, should what should this basement look like to serve my own purpose, or to be an environment where I can concentrate more on building my purpose. This is also just like leveling up and improving stuff. And yeah, so I made that my second layer, but also I thought about like, why should I deny the fact that the world is the only space in the universe, right? This is also really selfish. We could not say that we are the only living beings, or we are the only thing that exists in our universe, right? The universe is so, um, I mean, the name says it, it is large. And it's not everything. The world is not everything in this picture, in this whole picture. So we did also, a lot of people are they born and they live through life, and they did not even touch or did not even tip their toe into this whole universe we're living in, which means there's still potential left out. And this is what I trying to overcome. I trying to overcome this fear, and I trying to overcome this by, like, there's a lot of studying involved, there's a lot of learning involved, and there's a lot of improvement involved to be able to, like, discover this universe, right? So uh, the NASA is working on it currently, and I think they're doing a great job. But how did I ever contribute to this mission? And so I thought about the universe as the third layer of consciousness, where I also try to, like, wrap my head around and tip my toe in, and like try to, yeah, just try to understand it better. And if I think, okay, there's something which is there's a contradiction out there, um, I mean, there is, when we think about the universe, I think there's mainly where it gets really um, philosophical, because, like, what is humanity's um, other goal than controlling nature and letting nature work for himself, uh, which um, ultimately could end up in in humanity trying to make the whole universe work for him, right? This seems to be an dystopian kind of view on things, but there's also where it comes in, like, where, how do I see a perfect universe? Like, how do I see my perfect, like, my perfect self? This would be the first question. But how do I see the perfect environment I'm living in? Like, right, like, when you see me inside of this environment, do you trust me? Like, there's a kind of mistrust if I'm really, while saying that I'm so focused on my own goals, there must be something left out if I do completely forget about the space I'm living in, right? But let's put this on another level, where you say, okay, but I try to improve the direct conscious, I like the direct physical space I'm in, but I also want to improve the whole universe. Yeah, this life, it's painful sometimes, and so I said always push for pain. I said it again and again. You need to create at least something, I think. I need to create at least something, I think, to build upon it, make it better than the last time. And if it was not bad the last time, it's always bad. Things are always shit. things could always be more improved and even more improved, or doing it a little differently than others. Not even better, but different, and a little bit more different, and a little bit more abstract, and a little bit more. There's always this little bit more, this little bit, and there's something which is always left out. So this is today. This is the message of today. Even in my system, there's something left out. Is it because of my language skills? I don't know. I will end this video here. Always push through pain. Peace, bro.